Welcome back to the 5th edition of the Unbroken Athletic podcast. In this episode, we are going to be discussing body composition. This will wrap up our 5 Pillars of Fitness series, so that if you missed any of the previous ones, go ahead and venture back in our previous episodes and get the lowdown on all of the 5 Pillars of Fitness. So without any further ado, here is your coaches at Unbroken Athletic. All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 5 of the Unbroken Athletic podcast here in Olmsted Falls, Ohio. I am Jeremy, followed.
Oh, boy. Oh, here we go. Followed by Vince,
often, usually when I'm running. He's always following me.
Yeah, okay.
And Shanna, who's always following Vince. Yes. This is how we're going to open up the 5th podcast, with jokes. Of course. So, we have had the last 5 episodes of the podcast have been lifestyle, the last 4. Lifestyle, strength, endurance, mobility, and today's awesome topic.
Everybody's favorite.
Body composition. Composition. Somebody else open these damn things.
Composition.
All right? I'm done. I quit. Y'all figure this stuff out yourself. Okay. I'm serious.
All right, so you want to do a 25-minute AMRAP?
Sure.
30-minute? Let's do a 30-minute.
Let's go longer.
Talk about body composition. All right, in 3, 2, 1, go. You want me to start? I'll start.
I'm not talking right today.
Okay, so body composition.
Maybe it's a good thing.
I'm not going to give you all the sciencey facts about it, but I think that when we're talking about when we're talking about body composition, we're talking about your muscle and your body fat. So lean muscle mass and body fat percentage. So when people come in, they mostly want to, when they're talking about losing weight or looking tone, what they're really talking about is dropping body fat and upping lean muscle mass. So I think for what we do, like when we're building strength, a lot of people see the scale go up and that scares them. All right. So I always recommend that when you are starting something that includes lifting, we talked about strength, it's not just cardio, that you always do take your measurements and stuff. Because ideally what we'd like to see is the scale stay the same and inches go down. Because that to me means you're dropping body fat and you are adding lean muscle mass, which would be a good indicator that what you're doing is working. The scale will come down eventually, like if you are quote unquote overweight or whatever, the scale will come down, but in the beginning it's totally normal to see the scale stay the same and inches go down. Do you guys have anything to add on that?
It's going to be a very long 30 minutes.
Well, I feel like that is true, and I feel like a lot of the times actually most people end up seeing more muscle built. Like they actually start to see the muscle kind of tone up, I guess you could say, and that's a good sight or a good sign that things are working as well. However, I think like you were saying, like the weight, the number on that scale is going to go up because, as we all know, muscle does weigh a little bit more, so it's makes sense that weight would tend to go up.
I don't think do you guys get like, I mean, I know for women it's like a big issue. Like they will do anything to see that number go down on the scale, but is it the same thing for guys? You think? I mean, I really don't know.
I don't know.
Like, do you care about that number at all? Really?
I do when I have to do a lot of pull-ups. I care what that number says. Because at 225 comparative to 209 is a huge difference for performance-wise. I mean, if we're looking at performance gains and, you know, how that works, like, yeah, we're going to pay attention to the scale. Or competitively, like a weightlifter, like if you're trying to cut weight for weightlifting, I mean, that's a huge huge like a part of your lifestyle is the weigh-ins. But I mean, as far as like, I think we just want to look good naked. I mean, really.
It's true.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, if you're 275 pounds but you're jacked, like who cares?
Yeah. But
You
at
know?
the same time, like, I also know for me personally, like, I've never wanted that number to go down. I've always wanted that number to go up because I've always been skinny my whole life.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that number. I mean, if I told you like, hey, dude, we're gonna put 40 pounds of fat on you, like,
True.
you'd be
No.
like,
No, thank
but
you.
the number went up, bro.
True.
You wouldn't be like, yeah, totally, hook me up. Let's go eat some McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, because Jared, we could talk about your body composition from when we got married. So when we first got married,
She lucked out, man. Most people get fat. I got skinny.
he did. I think you lucked out is what happened.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I was perfectly fat.
It was
and
perfectly
content.
happy being fat. So we got married. You lost 68 pounds
Yep.
in our first year of marriage, mostly by changing the way that you ate,
Yeah.
and then you started working out about 3 months in.
Yeah, but we also went crazy, like off the deep end stuff.
Yeah, I
So-
know, but literally you did that mostly with your nutrition, fixing that first, and then you were like, oh, it doesn't hurt so bad to run and go upstairs and all the crazy stuff you're doing, so I think I can join you.
I don't know
So
about-
you dropped 68 pounds, and then it took you how many years to add back? I mean, now you're back up to 213,
I'm at 209.
209.
I thank you very much.
That's what
God.
Adding an extra 4 pounds.
so you put back on all the weight, but your body composition is
Reduced. Yeah, by
is
far.
way different. So I would say your body fat's still really close to what it was when you dropped all the weight, but putting on that muscle took longer than
Oh,
it
yeah.
did to lose like the body fat. So the scale really isn't a good indicator at all on how healthy you are.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean there's tons of people we usually call them skinny fat.
Yeah.
You know, they're super skinny, eat whatever they want, but it's like you throw a 5-pound dumbbell at them, they'll be like shambles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shatter.
I'm doing
But I
that.
mean that's the biggest thing that I think people need to get away from the media going, and most people know this already, but 90% of what you see in a magazine and on TV has been altered severely. So,
I can't even believe that.
oh my God, it's scary.
Either that or, like, I mean,
Look at the biggest thing is like camera filters on like Instagram
Yeah.
and like,
I know, and you see somebody in
Snapchat.
real life,
You're like, "Nuh-uh."
geez, what happened?
what are you, 16? No, I took it yesterday. You're 40,
No.
not 16. All your wrinkles are gone, but there's no filter. Yes, there is. It is there. So, off
I
topic.
wonder if do they have skinny filters?
Yeah.
but also, I mean, like,
I think it's just built in from now on.
Yeah,
Like
so
everybody's pictures are already altered. They didn't even know
boy.
about it.
that's scary. Dang it, I don't
Maybe
look as
we're all
jacked as
living
I
in
think
this,
I am.
maybe we're living in this false reality
Or
of
weights that
social
we put,
media.
Oh, really? Yeah, we definitely are.
We're not who we really think we are.
We are getting really philosophical over here.
We'll save that for another episode when we have no subscribers. Oh, wait. Next week on Unbroken, the theory of relativity and how it applies to your Instagram filter.
That's amazing.
Okay, how many people come here that work in the medical field? Nurses, physical therapists, doctors of all types. Let's say somewhere between 50 and 75, probably close to 75. I know that all of my people that come here, that come consistently for a while, I know that they have all gotten just enormously stronger. If they've never worked out before, I mean, that's the wonderful thing about weightlifting is that you can quantitate it. I mean, you see the plates going on the bar and getting heavier and heavier over time. And they get, even though they may be 50 years old when they first start lifting, they get a huge increase in their strength. And that does something to their confidence. even though they might be a very confident surgeon or, doctor at the hospital, it does something to just your personal confidence in yourself as a human being, that you're strong, that you're fit. Even if they don't even open their mouth to a patient, just their appearance and their posture and their obvious just glow of health on them. The other way would be to have an overweight doctor that's sitting there smoking cigarettes, which I saw in my youth. Doctors don't do that much anymore, but this is just the opposite. This is the most healthy looking doctor you can imagine, that's seeing a patient, and if nothing else, the patient may say, whoa, what are you doing? How do you look like this at your age? I mean, I get that a lot because I'm old, and patients just can't believe that I'm still working in the hospital, and that I'm in obviously pretty good shape, and they'll say, well, what do you do? And actually sometimes I carry cards that says Little Harpeth CrossFit. If I had to take one title, coach or doctor, I'll take coach. I just think coach is a great title. To me, it's an enormous source of pride to have somebody that's a chairman of a department, at Vanderbilt or something, who comes here and calls me coach. I really like it that people in high places call me coach, and it makes me feel pretty important. We're just here to have fun. I want my workouts to be like a birthday party, I really do. That's something I told them one time. I said, I want this doggone workout to be like a birthday party. I want you to go out here feeling like you really had a good time and that you can't wait to come back to the gym again, and then it's a totally memorable thing. That's the other thing, is that you'll never forget this place because it is so unique.
Oh, man.
All right, so let's get back to body fat. So skinny fat, I'm glad that you talked about that because I'm kind of like obsessed right now with visceral fat. I know that's like the grossest thing ever.
Yeah. Fat under muscle.
It's basically the fat underneath the muscle. So you see a lot of like older men, but now you see it in like younger people too, where they like have a skinny frame or skinny body, and then they have this like, it's like a bloated gut, almost kind of looks like it's fat underneath the abdominal wall, so underneath the muscles. And the reason it's so dangerous is because it is around the organs, and it actually gets into the organs, and it creates a whole bunch of issues, from cancer all the way, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. We hear about all these things, high blood pressure. It like secretes hormones and stuff like that. So it's not just like how you look, it's also super, super dangerous to be carrying that type of body fat around. So when we talk about body composition, we're not talking, what are you going to say? We're not talking about like what you look like necessarily. I want people to like get away from that.
It's like an episode out of Body Snatchers. Like, we've actually been infiltrated by aliens.
Oh my God.
What are you talking about?
And they have come up with visceral fat, and they're slowly taking over humans.
No. You guys, if you've never done it, you should Google search visceral fat, and you will be like, so... Have you ever done that?
Don't do it.
It doesn't even sound appetizing.
No, it's...
Just don't do it.
No, and
like
so...
body fat? Visceral fat.
I know, it's scary.
Goodness!
Okay, so what I'm saying is, it's not necessarily about having a high body fat percentage, and the only way to get rid of that belly fat, like, you're not going to come in here and do a whole bunch of crunchers, you're not going to eat a whole bunch of cabbage soup and honey and cayenne pepper and whatever the crazy diets are trying to get you to do. It's about lowering your overall body percentage. It does not matter what you look like. It matters about your percentage of body fat to lean muscle mass. That's what we're talking about. That's a healthy indicator of, like your wellness, your health and wellness. And some people carry fat different. So really doesn't matter what you look. You could be super skinny and have a really high body fat percentage to your lean muscle mass. Mm-hmm. I think that's important to know. Bless you.
Excuse me. It's all that visceral talk.
Allergic to some visceral fat.
Visceral fat. Allergic.
I wish we had like a glob of it.
Why?
Not a real one.
Just going on over here.
a replica so we could like hold body fat compared to muscle mass. You know what I'm saying?
It's huge difference. What's another thing? Yeah, it's the whole body composition. When that's the biggest thing that we get. Is I came here to lose weight, and the scale keeps on going up. And that's what you talked about in the beginning, and it's so annoying. I'm sorry, I said it. It's very annoying because what we do is we break down muscle and we rebuild it. And the thing is most people need to understand that muscle burns more calories, not fat. Mm-hmm. So if the scale is moving, say you're a 100-pound woman and you come in and you're trying to lose weight at 100 pounds, but
should be tiny.
You're going to be okay. So you're a 150-pound woman.
That's better.
There we go. And you're trying to lose body fat, like you're trying to lose 5 pounds supposedly, and then you even specified even more. You're trying to lose 5 pounds of belly fat, but in the process of doing something like CrossFit, you don't lose any more body fat, or you don't lose belly fat, but the scale keeps on going up, but your clothes start fitting better, and you didn't take any pre-workout measurements or pictures or anything, but the only thing that you have to gauge is a scale. And so 6 weeks from now, you come in and you're like, hey, I thought I did this to lose weight, and the scale just keeps moving up, and I'm not losing any belly fat. And so now you've specified like this whole thing, and it's super annoying because that 5 pounds of actual lean body mass or that muscle growth, it's going to burn a lot more calories in the long run.
Yeah, like when you're sleeping.
But people get to the point where, we're so inundated with this get fit now, or like drop, I don't know, 1,000 pounds in a week or whatever the hell is out there right now. And we get onto these fad diets just to drop all this weight, but at the same time, you're not actually fixing the problem of where you are. Rather than saying, yeah, I might be gaining some extra weight, but I noticed that my clothes are fitting a little better. Mm-hmm. I noticed that I had extra energy. I've noticed that I've been able to curb my cravings and stuff like that. So those little kind of hints throughout, kind of your structured program, we often ignore because it's just you're so like looking at this number on this scale because that's a good indication of, your overall healthiness. And it's not. I mean, you can starve yourself and lose 5 pounds,
Yeah, but it's going to be muscle.
Is that the right thing to do? No.
Right.
But the minute that you put 5 pounds on and you're, it's super aggravating to me as a coach because I know, and I guess that falls on us as coaches, is not educating people enough to let them know that, hey, this is a process, this is something that happens. And I think we do a fairly good job of that here at the gym. But I mean, it's hard to combat everyday social media with that kind of thing that, the fear of, oh, you're gaining weight by lifting weights. Like, you're not getting bulky, I swear. Trust me. That is not what's happening.
As a woman.
What?
Yeah, as a woman.
Most times as a woman, if you start lifting weights as a
male,
you
should
probably
be able to
will start gaining a little bit of muscle.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, that's the biggest misconception with weightlifting is that you're getting bulky, and because of that is the reason why you're gaining all this bad weight, when it's not bad weight that you're gaining. I mean, it's 5 pounds is equal to 10 pounds of body fat or something like that. I don't know the difference.
The way that it looks is.
Well, I'm just talking about weight ratio.
Yeah, I don't know, but.
Well, I mean, I guess the weight would be the same.
But if you have a pound ratio. The size ratio, that's why I said I wish we had a glove, like an actual replica. The size of 1 pound of fat is like a softball, and then maybe 1 pound of muscle would be more like a golf ball. Mm-hmm. But the difference between them is that fat just sits there on your body. It doesn't burn any calories. Muscle actually burns calories while it's sitting there, whether you're sitting at your desk working, driving into work, sleeping, watching TV. You're still burning more calories by having that muscle there than if you just had the fat. Does that make sense? So the fat takes up more space and doesn't do anything. When muscle, if you put it on, that's why like I'm so crazy about making sure I hit my protein, making sure that I'm like eating right, because I want to maintain. I work so hard in the gym to build my muscle. I don't want to lose it. So I don't want to do hours of cardio. I don't want to do, stuff that's going to break that down. And my body will use if I'm not fueling it right. So here's another thing. Like, people think they're going to go do cardio. It's the worst way to drop body fat is to do cardio. The absolute worst way. You can take me to the bank on that. Like, that is the absolute worst way. And
Good thing she's protected under our insurance.
Woo! No, literally after 20 years of experience, I would put that up against anything, because I've tried it with multiple, hundreds of people. I've tried it on us. I've tried it on, if you want to drop body fat, the way you're going to do that is what you're putting in your mouth. If you want to build muscle, you're going to do that at the gym. Mm-hmm. That's it. Period. End of story. So you can't outrun a bad diet. And also, you're not going to be able to put on and maintain lean muscle mass if you're not fueling your body right. Your body will break down muscle. So you're working hard. If you're not eating the right way, even if you're a dude, okay, you're in there lifting super heavy weights. If you're not eating enough calories to rebuild, for your body to have building blocks to build up muscle and then recover at night, it's not going to work. So your body's going to break down the muscle that you're working so hard to build to use as energy.
Well, I mean, look at if we go back to the first episode is, think about how many calories are consumed by an average bodybuilder on an average day.
Right.
I mean, they're in the upwards of 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, and here's an even staggering thing is like, and it's not what you do. So this comes back to what you're saying about learning body mass and cardio and all that other thing. Look at Michael Phelps. Take Michael Phelps, for example. Michael Phelps was his average daily or caloric intake, blah, 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 was almost 6,900 calories a day. Mm-hmm. And does he look like a bodybuilder? No, he does not. I mean, he's skinny, slender, slim. And what does he do? He swims all day. High cardio. Mm-hmm. Okay? Then you take that, and if you fed that to an average bodybuilder, 6,900 calories a day, and they didn't do swimming, and all they did was lift weights, that's what you get. You get the bodybuilder, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of like, and you can apply that to anything. Right. Like, I mean, apply that to, a typical gym goer who goes in, runs on a treadmill for a very long period of time, and, not feeding themselves 6,900 calories a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a big issue with a lot of people that don't know what they're doing. Like at the gym, they just go in and they run on the treadmill for 20 minutes or an elliptical 20 minutes. So basic cardio or lightweight circuit. Okay, let's talk about, we talked about that a little bit in our other things. They greatly overestimate how many calories they burn. They're like, oh, my treadmill said I burned 300 calories, so now I can eat more. Mm-hmm. But that's not necessarily true, where if you lift weights, you would be burning almost 3 times the amount of calories because your body is rebuilding that over the next 24 hours, where you're underestimating how much your body needs when you're lifting weights. But when people are trying to lose weight and they're using cardio as a means to do that, they greatly overestimate. So I'll just give you an example, like how I coach. If you do cardio and I'm coaching your nutrition, you don't even count cardio as an exercise. So you don't change your eating from a rest day as cardio. Like it doesn't make any sense to do it. Your body doesn't need extra calories for that you're not Michael Phelps, right? You're not doing 4-hour sessions in the pool. So you don't need that extra calories.
Yeah, but the only thing is and kind of the point that I was trying to prove is your body's not going to burn fat for energy. So if you're greatly underfeeding, if you're greatly underestimating the amount of calories that you're consuming, your body's immediate response is going to be to break down muscle, not fat, because muscle's the easiest to break down and it stores a lot more energy. Mm-hmm. So, and its last resort is going to be fat. Yeah. So the thing is, and it comes down to, if you're not properly fueling yourself and you're not, kind of doing those things that are necessary to lose body fat, like nutrition, it's just not going to happen. And at least if you're, I want to say 80% right on your nutrition, but you're lifting more weights and you're gaining muscle mass and you're reestablishing that muscle, I believe is an easier alternative,
right,
so to speak, than just getting on a treadmill and running for 5 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles.
Vince, what do you like? Why don't you talk about your last? It's been 6 weeks since you started working with like nutrition.
So basically, I came in and I've known about nutrition. I knew, eating healthy foods, about 80% of the time, like you were saying, and 20% of the time letting myself go, just a healthy, active lifestyle.
Ben and Jerry's.
She's ousting you, bro.
My Ben and Jerry's.
Throwing you under the bus.
But
that's the only reason you were actually still living was Ben and Jerry's.
Exactly. But I did not realize that, no matter how many people told me I had to eat a lot of food in order to gain weight, and I already kind of knew it being having a soccer background and all that. I mean, my body's still probably burning up, calories constantly just because of how much I was running and playing soccer, and I still do. I didn't realize how much food I actually had to eat, and like trying to space that out and all that until I came in and kind of sat down with you and talked about nutrition and all that. And I'm on a plan now that's actually supposed to be maintaining at my body weight, and I've actually gained muscle by just being in that maintaining phase. So
how much weight did you gain?
I was fluctuating between 165 and 168, and when I had gotten measured last, I was at 172.
Yeah.
So.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah,
that's
buddy.
Awesome.
See, we do care what the scale says.
I do care.
I think I kind of want to take this down another road though, because we kind of went down like the nutrition side, but I also think there's a whole mindset side to it too, of body composition and what you look like in the mirror, and.
We went down there.
Kind of. A little bit. A little bit. Just a
We
tad
went down
bit.
the sci-fi way. But.
Well, like, I remember it was my junior year in college that I had quit soccer, and I was starting to lift a little bit, and but it wasn't that much, and I started kind of looking at myself in the mirror, and my abs were starting to go away, and I don't know if, I was really skinny, so obviously my abs were kind of showing anyways, but they were kind of going away, and I was getting scared, and I was freaking out, and like you just start playing mental games with yourself, like, hey, you look bad, you look horrible, this, that, the other, or I'd look at a guy in the gym if I was lifting, and if he's bulky and everything, and I wanted to get to that, and I'm like, well, I'll never get there, I can't. So it took me a little bit of time that to finally snap out of it and be like, you don't have to look like him, and you are perfectly fine. If you want to get better, there's always a way to get better. But I think I think that a lot of times people base themselves off of what they see in the mirror and then try to base it off of other people, and so you don't know what they're going through, you don't know what they're doing. If you look at a magazine, especially like a bodybuilding magazine or something, I mean, we've touched on like the possibility of being photoshopped, but then you also have to know that those people slim down so much. They even admit that it's unhealthy to the point that they slim down to, and that they don't right before competition,
right.
And that they don't keep that body fat percentage year
Ever.
Round.
Right.
It's almost impossible to.
Right.
So. Sure, there's going to be people who can walk around with their abs popping out and not have to work for it that hard. But a lot of the times, the people that are walking around, like that, I mean, their nutrition's dialed in. What they do in the gym is dialed in. Their lifestyle, they sleep probably 8 to 10 hours a night. Like, it's
Right.
it is absolutely insane. So I think all in all, like, mindset-wise, you have to realize that you almost have to put it in perspective of yourself and say, hey, what do I have time for? So if I want to lose 25 pounds, right? Okay, you have to start planning out, what do I have time for? Do I have time to only get to the gym 3 times a week? Okay, then in those 3 times of the week, I have to go all out, all the time, and then my nutrition, the rest of the week has to be spot on along with those days, and you just have to start planning it out, I guess.
Yeah. I think you have to decide, like, I like that you brought that up, because I actually follow a lot of bodybuilders that compete, and again, we talked about it before, but I have so much respect for their dedication to what they do, because it is, when you're on a stage and you're being judged on your little tiny muscles in a bikini, that's like my worst nightmare. And so I give them so much respect, and so just, seriously, the discipline that goes into that. But they do all their photo shoots are lined up with their lowest body fat percentages, where they're at their very best, but it took them 12 weeks of a cut to get to that position. And then when they're done with it, they don't stay like that. No. They never stay like that. But they have the pictures that they'll use in all their marketing. That's what's on the magazine covers. That's what they use in all the, supplement marketing, everything. Like, you're going to look like this. No, you're not going to look like that, because they don't even look like that.
Right.
So the minute
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, they look like that maybe at one point for a couple days, and then unless I've never seen anybody that walks around like that all the time. So I'm glad that you touched on that. I don't remember I was going to go with that whole thing, but I'm glad that you talked about that, because I feel like social media, we went down the rabbit hole on that, but everybody's showing you their very best life, and they're posing for 100 different shots to get the right angle where you can see a muscle popping. So it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless to look at other people and compare yourself. Oh, here's what I was going to say. I remembered.
Compare what?
If you don't love yourself where you are now, then no matter where you get to, you're not going to love yourself there either. It's never going to be enough.
It's like that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes, that. But also, if you're not happy and you're not grateful and you're not you have to love yourself and your body and where you're at and what it's capable of doing. You only have one body, so you need to love it. If you don't love yourself at 300 pounds, you're not going to love yourself when you're at 100 pounds either. So you should love yourself at every single, and I know that's a lot easier said than done, but being a woman, and I grew up, and when I was a kid, I was kind of heavy, so I got made fun of a lot for being a fat kid, which back in the 80s was not very fat, but I have pictures, maybe I'll show you guys sometime. You've seen them.
She wasn't that fat.
And then I did all these unhealthy things. I was bulimic, I had eating disorders, I did crazy diet pills, did whatever it was. I've done everything, I promise you. And so I've had to go through this whole thing. And then when I got pregnant, my body's just hey, we know what to do here. Put on 80 pounds. I was eating healthy. I was working. I was doing everything except for Coca-Cola.
And very salty egg sandwiches. And Pop-Tarts.
Okay, so I guess
Long
I wasn't
story.
eating that great. But the point is
That's
that
3
gaining
meals. It's not
80
that bad.
gaining 80 pounds, or it was 75 pounds with Avery, my first kid, and I'm 2.5. That was a lot of weight for me to be carrying around. So I know what it's like to be that heavy, and I know what it's like to be, at a thinner weight. And until I realized that no matter where I was, if I wasn't happy with where I was, it wasn't going to change when I got there. It's destination. What's that called? Destination distress. You think that once you get to where you want to be, you're going to be happy, but happiness is never at a future point. It's you need to bring it in to where you are now and be happy and love yourself. And then this whole journey will be so much easier. And
It's the peaceful warrior, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a lot harder said than done, because of the fact that you have those people out there, and I'm kind of one of them that says, yeah, you have to be happy with where you're at now, but then a lot of people misconstrue that and say, well, then okay, if I'm going to be happy with where I'm at now, then I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine with who I am and you know, walking around at, say, 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Whereas,
but at the same time, you have to honestly look at those people and say, is that the truth?
Right.
They're just saying that because it's a lot easier to accept mediocrity. It's so much easier to accept that than it is to accept a future where you're different.
Yeah.
Well, and I agree, but
totally
I guess that's what I'm saying is like you have to love yourself as in like the inside person, but you have to know that you can be better on the outside, if that makes sense. Like you have to be able to sit there and go, all right, I do love myself, but I know that I am, like, accept yourself that, hey, I am, say, overweight, and I do need to drop this, say, for health reasons. I still love myself, but now it's time to go put in the work at the gym and nutrition-wise. I guess that's what I'm trying to...
I think we should do a whole podcast on that, because I think a lot of people do that. They get to a certain level of, I achieved enough. And we're not even talking about body composition anymore, but anything, career, life, whatever. I achieved enough, so I'm just going to stay here because I'm comfortable and I did it. And yay me, I love myself. I'm doing really good. And settling is a form of quitting, you know. But there's nothing wrong with being grateful for where you are, but still striving to move forward. Mm-hmm. I think that's the point that you got to get to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so proud of myself. I love myself for who I am, but I know for a fact that I'm not even close to where I want to be. You know, so there's no form of that is settling. But I do see that a lot where people use like gratefulness as an excuse to not do anything. To be complacent. Yeah.
And with that, we will axe the end of episode 5 of the Unbroken Athletic podcast. And maybe next week we'll bring that in as settling for greatness or whatever.
Yeah, complacency
versus non-complacency.
Striving for greatness.
All right, guys. So be on the lookout for something new coming out from Unbroken Athletic. Hopefully in the next, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Vince doesn't even know. This is great.
Clueless.
Clueless. Also, if you ordered an Unbroken Athletic t-shirt, they are in the gym at this time, or you have been direct shipped them. I don't think anyone direct shipped them.
I think they all can.
Come on, social media users. All right, make sure you like, share, and comment.